You know that weird moment when the arsonist shows up to the fire, points at the flames, and then blames the neighbours? That's British immigration politics right now. The Tories spent years expanding the hotel use and then turned around and yelled, "It's Labour's hotels." If you felt gaslit like that, well, you're not alone. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the lies, the contradictions, and the brag they thought you'd forgotten. So, let's start with that. The story is being told right now is record crossings, Labour's scrapped everything, and only one tough Tory plan will fix it. Sounds simple, until you hit the play on the clips they don't want you to see anymore.
We have procured more hotels very rapidly, and more are coming on board literally every day. More hotels have been coming online almost every month throughout the whole of this year. So Suella Braverman and her predecessor, Priti Patel, were procuring more hotels. What I have done in my short tenure is ramp that up and procure even more.
So procurement was on turbo. Their words, not mine. Meet Matt Vickers, Tory MP and Shadow Home Minister. And judging by this interview, he's comfortable repeating lies that are flat out wrong and framing them to gaslight viewers. No blinking, no pause, just pushing the Tory script. The Conservatives chose hotels as the default. Then, when the bill landed and the headlines soured, they flipped the script and pretended the whole thing started only yesterday.
Why do you think we're seeing people up and down the country protesting outside asylum hotels? Morning.
Good morning. I think there's a huge amount of concern across the country, and rightly so. We've seen a huge increase in the number of illegal immigrants arriving in this country, people breaking into this country. It's up nearly 50% in the year to date. That isn't acceptable. It's not sustainable. It's placing huge pressure on public services. It's placing huge pressure on public finances. And then we've seen some of these horrific cases, like this chap being charged in Epping for the sexual assault. It's just not a thing that can carry on. People are utterly frustrated. They want an end to this. They want to see these hotels closed. They want to see a reduction in the number of people here, well, arriving here. And the only way to do that is to put that deterrent in place. People who arrive here should be detained and they should be removed from this country.
Now, that half spike is real, but it's a half-year stat, not the full year, using a highest slice to paint the whole picture as a classic headline inflation. Using for outrage, useless for policy.
That's what the last government was about to do. We had the Rwanda scheme. There was a plan there to do that. Labour came to office. They scrapped that. They've actually removed all the legislation, repealed the bill that was going to allow us to remove these people from our country. It can't go on. People are concerned, they're frustrated, and they're worried about the impact on their communities and their families.
They did repeal the Rwanda law, but saying there are now no removal powers is fantasy. The current bill swaps the theatrical theme for boring enforcement and returns. Less photo op, more paperwork. Not exciting, but actually more useful.
Mr Vickers, how many flights took off to Rwanda under the Conservative government?
The scheme hadn't started. You saw the legal wranglings that went on. You saw the fights with the lefty lawyers to get this thing done. But we've actually gone completely the wrong way. And the reason the numbers are going up is because A, that deterrent was removed, but B, Keir Starmer's changed the law to allow people who arrive here illegally to become British citizens. That was in legislation. It couldn't happen. He's changed the law on that.
Nope, the Illegal Migration Act passed under the Conservative government contained a statutory bar on citizenship for people who had arrived here unlawfully. Labour repealed this section but simultaneously updated the Home Office's Good Character Guidance on the 10th of February 2025. That guidance states that anyone who previously entered the UK illegally, including by small boat, will normally be refused citizenship. In other words, it reintroduced a bar through administrative guidance rather than removing it. There's no evidence that illegal entrants can now become citizens more easily. The door didn't just swing open, it just got relabelled and kept shut.
Isn't your party partly responsible for the mess that we're seeing today?
I think previous governments got it wrong. The number was too high. But reality is, when you look at this hotel situation in particular, before the election, the last government was reducing the number. It was down 47%. If we'd carried on that trajectory, there wouldn't be any hotels in the country now. That's what the last government was delivering. It was taking away these hotels. 47% reduction. Nearly half of the hotels have been closed.
Now, what's the wording on that? 47% is people in hotels, not number of hotels. Occupancy fell after a peak. The hotel network still existed because, and remember, they expanded it. Jenrick just told you he did.
Suella Braverman and her predecessor, Priti Patel, were procuring more hotels. What I have done in my short tenure is ramp that up and procure even more.
Oh, whilst you're here, if you're enjoying the content and you'll be so kind, just give the video a like. It really does help. Okay, next clip.
The reality is now record numbers arriving in the country, more people in hotels, and of those people arriving illegally, less of them are being removed. Just 5% now of illegal arrivals are being removed by Labour. You need a deterrent. We need to stop people getting in these boats in the first place. They need to know that if they come to this country, they are going back. There is no welcome mat to be had here. That is the only way to solve this problem.
Eligible data on removal rates for small boat arrivals since July 2024 do not support this. The Migration Observatory notes that by the end of 2024, only about 5,000 people who had arrived by small boat since 2018 had been returned, roughly 3% of all arrivals. The widely cited 5% figure refers to a pilot French return scheme that would return 50 people a week, less than 5% on average weekly arrivals. Vickers offers no evidence that Labour are removing only 5% of arrivals. Removal rates have now been low under both governments. The Conservatives created the hotel system, bragged about scaling it, and then spun the fallout as somebody else's mess. That's not mismanagement, it's messaging loop. Inflate the problem, sell the stunt, then blame the cleanup. Repeat. Meanwhile, caseworkers, deals and returns, all the unglamorous stuff, were left to rust. Vickers called migrants breaking in, sneers at lefty lawyers, and floats camps with a straight face.
We've seen a huge increase in the number of illegal immigrants arriving in this country, people breaking into this country. You saw the fights with the lefty lawyers to get this thing done. Kemi has suggested that we should be looking at camps.
It's clear that Vickers just toes the party line and he's looking to advance his own career. But the language he uses, it quite scares me that it's being used to drag Britain back 80-odd years towards a past that we swore that we would never revisit. And now for something completely different. If you've ever wondered how we got to where we are today, well, I've started a year in review series so you can see exactly how it happened. First episode is up and it covers 2019 in its entirety, so go watch that next. The video is on screen now. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos in your feed, and I'll see you next time.